Peace, kings and queens, gods and goddesses. So, we are back again with the good stuff. Let's talk about it. Okay, no, but I'm feeling real good today, and I really wasn't even in the mood to make a video, and I'm just like, forget about it. I'm gonna make it because the information has to get out. We gotta talk about it. So, amongst all of the things that we were never taught growing up, being human has become one of the most important lessons I've had to learn. It really has. And allowing myself to be human was, to say the least, a challenge. When I reflect, it truly amazes me how hard I have been on myself. And I know that this is a common struggle in our community, and it honestly tugs on my heartstrings so heavily. So much to the point that I really be crying, y'all. Sometimes I really be brought to tears just thinking about stuff. But it's really tough witnessing the lack of humanness in people. And I am amazed at how many individuals don't truly know what it means to be human. Because things like trauma, experience, and conditioning has taught us otherwise. So allow me to share some things that I've accepted about myself, because guess what? I'm human. And one of the things that I've learned is that I am one of the most disciplined people that I know. It's truly a beautiful thing. And I've honestly been told this multiple times, especially by my counselor, Nima. I love you. I love you. But that does not mean I don't slip up sometimes. It doesn't mean that my consistency looks perfect. There's no such thing as perfect, and we're not gonna go there. But it certainly doesn't mean that I give up after I make a mistake or some type of inconvenience happens. In fact, I often stop smoking and drinking spontaneously whenever I feel like it. But then I might fall back into the habit again. It happens. So what? And it's just like, I've had to like really just come to terms with like, I'm not an addict. Like, I'm not addicted to these things. Like, I don't need them to survive. I'm not dependent of them. So there's nothing wrong with doing it if I ever want to do it, basically. And I've changed my diet multiple times. Multiple times. And I was plant-based for like a solid 2 years straight. But I honestly didn't think it through, because when I made the switch, I didn't eat so many things that would have been required for me to eat for me to gain weight. And it's just like, it was such a struggle for me to really gain weight, y'all. I just started eating mushrooms, hummus, and like more raw vegetables within the last 2 years. I haven't even gotten to things like avocados, eggplants, olives, or beets yet. Like, baby steps. I'm pacing myself the best I can, and I'm trying things at a pace that's great for me. Like, it's really this is just what it is. But like, something funny that I find, something funny I found about like myself is that like despite believing we're all greatness, kings, queens, gods, goddesses, I say it every time I started a video. When I'm frustrated or excited, I might hit my girl up like, bitch. Even though I don't love using the term, or the same goes for nigga. Like, I might just say it out of spontaneousness, for real. Just saying it. Not really thinking about it, but just saying it. And it's just like, I'm working on changing the habit, but sometimes it slipped. It slipped. Yeah. I would keep it all the way at $150 with y'all, for real. I really struggle with all work and no play, like bad. Man, last year I was all work, no play. I would work endlessly, creating documents, studying, crying. And I realized there was a lot of fear tied to the path I was choosing, but I've never been one to back down, especially not with something as important as this. And I'm happy to share that that fear has dissolved. I'm more confident now, and I love that for me. And I've learned so much along this journey. I have full faith in what I am doing now. It was definitely challenging getting here, but look at me now. Look at me now. Oh, I'm succeeding. I'm like this for real life, y'all. All right, seriously, on a heavier note, last year my finances were, let's just say, tight. Yeah. And I really was driving myself insane, not being able to show up how I wanted to. Later, I realized it was rooted in unresolved trauma. And we'll talk more about that another time. Right now, I'm gonna try to stick to the topic at hand. But let me tell you, I felt undeserving, worthless even. I felt like I was failing my children. Just the feelings were so heavy. They were unbearable at certain moments. And I can hardly believe it, but I actually wasn't depressed. I was just struggling to give myself grace. And it was difficult. It was real difficult. But I am happy to share that I have learned to be graceful with myself. And I'm super grateful. My mothering style has changed to yeah, I'm sorry. I got a little caught up there in a thought. But no, sorry. So back to it. Like, my mothering style has changed also. And this has been like a work in progress for a good 3 years now, but I am very far about like as far as like how far I've come, and I've come very far. I've completely stopped like disciplining my children physically, whooping, popping, hitting. None of that. Now this change was more easy to stick with, but yelling, it's not often. It's not often, but it happens sometimes. Like if I'm frustrated or overwhelmed or things like that, and then it finds its way pouring out onto my children. But the thing is, I'm aware of it now, and I always apologize once I realize that I did it. And I I love my children so much, y'all, because they'll straight up call me out like, are you going to sit in the corner? And I do. I do, because no one should be yelling, hitting, or showing unkindness in any way. And that's something that we stand on in this household, and that includes me, even as the mom, even as an adult. And since their consequence often is a timeout, I absolutely believe that I should get one too. And I do. And it helps a lot, actually. So once again, we're gonna have to delve into that another day, but we're gonna talk about it for sure. Now, one thing that I had to learn as a mom is that just because I am an adult doesn't mean that I can do things that I don't want them doing. I have to lead by example. This shows them that they are not less than me, and it shows a level of respect for themselves and myself, and fairness. And I believe in fairness. And just things that makes us equal, because we are equals, even if they're children. Now, this is not the case for everything, but I explain things to my children. Even if they don't fully understand, that's okay. I can always bring it up to their counselor so we can find common ground. And we do, and I'm happy that we do. Now let's talk about something a little more spicy. We're gonna talk about sex for a second. And oh my God, y'all, like, just because I like sex and I might have sex outside of a relationship doesn't mean I'm undeserving of love, happiness, or a husband. I respect my body, and I set boundaries for myself, and for the safety of myself and the safety of anyone that I choose to get involved with. I'm not reckless. I'm not just out here busting it open and doing anything with just anybody. And just because someone else chooses not to engage in sex doesn't make them better than me. We're just different humans with different preferences. I used to feel guilt and shame and worry about this, like I was doing something wrong, condemning myself for no reason. But you know what? I'm allowed to be human and experience life as I choose. I'm well educated on sex, spiritually, mentally, and physically, more than most, I'd say. So yeah, if this is something that I want to do, I now allow myself the liberty to do it without feeling anything negative about it, because it's unnecessary. That's just how I feel about it. And please know that I am not insinuating there's anything wrong with reserving yourself. I've gone through my fair share of absences on more than one occasion, as if I turned down my fair share of invites, and I'm sure I'll experience more of both of them. But eventually, I like to involve myself in those activities safely. Safely, it's the key word there. I think things through. But none of these things make me anything other than human. And this is something that I really just, y'all, I had to fucking figure it out. I had to reflect, and I had to accept, and I had to acknowledge, and I had to do the work. I had to do the work to really take in what it means to be human. Care too much about external things, other people, places, things. It's truly exhausting. It's fucking exhausting. And I've learned that it's none of my concern. It's not my concern. And it took me a long time to get here. I'm not gonna say a long time, but it took a while. It took me a while to get here. And some changes happen easier than others, especially when taking into consideration my trauma. But as you can see, your girl is learning, your girl is growing, and your girl is prospering. Hello? Hello. And I'm embracing the human in me and giving myself more grace every day. I have to be very intentional on doing this. Awareness has taught me so much. I love this version of Heaven. I love her. She is authentic. She is intelligent. She is goofy. She is honest. She is fearless. Y'all, I'm funny as hell for real. She is love. She's open. She is receptive. She is aware. She is empathetic. She is compassionate, emotionally expressive, communicative, mature, happy, peaceful, and shit. I'm a great mom. I'm a fucking great mom. Constantly evolving into better versions of myself. No one on this goddamn planet has it all figured out. More than likely, we have all experienced problems, fear, embarrassment, pride, shame, jealousy, dislike, disappointment, discouragement, regret, sadness, pain, amongst other feelings and emotions that are considered negative and not wanted. We are just taught to hide, suppress, and ignore them. Like it's something to be ashamed of. Like it makes us less than, or we can never get past it. Shit, big mistakes. Yeah, I made them in abundance. Who hasn't? Who hasn't? It's about time that we truly acknowledge that without mistakes, there can be no growth. None at all. Growth that is necessary for change. It is nothing light about trauma, but there is no written rule that we are obligated to hold on to it. Healing offers freedom. I've learned to love every single version of myself. And it was not easy. This was a very tall task for me. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I don't like all of them, but I love them. I love them. But it's one of the best things that's ever happened to me. Embrace your humanness. It is great power in that. The greatest power in just being a human. And just allowing yourself to experience life without labels such as bad and good. Sure, some things don't make us as happy as other things that we experience. We will be affected emotionally, mentally, sometimes physically by our experiences. But labeling things is not the best thing to do also. But we ain't diving too deep into that right now neither. We gonna hold that for that's a whole nother conversation for sure. But I do plan on sharing more human experiences to help guide others. And I truly hope that it helps. I want to help. I want us to do better. I want people to have different perspectives. I want people to be able to get past those uncomfortable feelings. And it takes work. And if me doing the work can help somebody else do the work, we're working together. But that's all of it for today, y'all. Peace.